Abstract Boss. Today I am going to show you guys how to do leafing on your wooden pieces, sort of like this one. So the outside edges and how to go about doing that the most effective way, because I've tried many different methods and I'll walk you guys through it all. Let's get to it. Okay, so I am actually going to be doing this on a piece that I originally just was not too fond of. I bought the wood piece from Ross. It was on discount and everything, not fancy. And I did not seal it properly, so I got a lot of air bubbles. This is sort of what we want to avoid. Let me see if I can get, there we go. It's sort of what we want to avoid. This is why we sell our wood pieces. Okay, so let's not pull an Abstract Boss here. And the way that we're going to get rid of this is we're going to sand this down, and that way this is still nice and flat, and you're still going to be able to see a little bit of bubbles, but I would rather see those bubbles because I think that it kind of adds to the effect, sort of like what some of my pigmenting did when it mixed together anyways. And so I'm not going to try to fill them in. Another option is you can do a whole new pour over top of this. I'm actually just going to do my leafing around the edges and leave the bubbles and see what happens. I honestly think worst case scenario, I can do another pour over top and there solves the problem too. But I think this will be cool. So let's get to it. Okay, once you're done sanding it and blowing out the holes with air, you can also fill it in with some paint if you're thinking that it's just too exposed down to the wood. Just kind of another quick solution for you. But really, let's just go ahead and jump into the edge. And I'm going to use a brush kind of like this. Honestly, I'm not too picky about my brushes when it comes to my leafing. But I will tell you, I am picky about my adhesive. I use the Mona Lisa adhesive size. Now, the reason I use this is because it goes on wet and then it gets tacky. Like, it doesn't actually dry super fast. Oh, look at that. See, I had some more in there. It doesn't dry super fast. And I like that because I can work away all the way around, and then I can start where I started with this with my silver leafing if it's dry. So you'll actually see it goes on kind of milky and then it dries very clear. The thing with using Mod Podge, and all of those is they end up getting very bulky. You can't control the look of the metal leafing once you put it on. Basically, wherever the adhesive size is exactly where the metal leafing will be. If you end up accidentally getting some size onto here and you put metal leaf on top of it, then it's going to get there too. So you want to make sure that you are only putting the metal leaf where you want it to be. So much dust. Okay, and the metal leaf definitely wants to stick to literally everything. So as you guys can see, I make the edges a little rough. I like that look. That's sort of my thing. I don't like things to be super precise. So what you want to do, there we go. Make sure you don't put this size near your elbow. You'll knock it over and spill a whole container. And it is kind of pricey, but it does last a while, so that's why I don't mind. I usually get the size and the sealer pack, which I do have on my Amazon material, so you guys can check that out. And it's so simple. Now, since the edge of this is really crappy looking, like I think they just took and sawed off the live edge, and I don't know who the heck would do that because the live edge looks so cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to paint this edge with the size. Okay, so it's really that easy. You want to paint the whole edge, and then when you're coming up onto the top, you're just going to poke your brush at different various lengths. And that's going to help give it that rough edged look. See how it's a little bit milky? And wherever it dries, it's going to dry nice and tacky. So this is the idea that we're going for. All right, so I'm going to speed you guys along through the rest of the process. Okay, so now that this is done, you want to wait for that milkiness to dry to the tackiness. So that usually takes about anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. It depends on how fast, I guess, maybe the temperature around you. I do not know. But just pay attention. So you can even see some of it, excuse me, along the edge here is actually already looking pretty tacky. It looks dry, but it's actually tacky, so I don't want to touch it. And then you can sort of touch the edge. The edge is still a little wet, not too tacky. Okay, so you can tell a significant difference now. You can barely see any of the milky substance. Now it's all just tacky, so listen. You hear that? So it is very tacky, and that's the perfect time to put your leafing on. So like I said, I tear it into pieces, and then I'm just going to get it and then lay it right on top and allow it to fold over the side. That's it. So I'm going to go through this and then I'll bring you to removing it. Okay, so now that that's applied, you want to go ahead and take a large soft brush, and you're just going to make sure that everything, I'm barely putting any pressure, I'm just allowing the brush to sit right on top. I'm just pushing it all down just to make sure that everything is touching something tacky. And then I've already pushed against the side. I accidentally missed a couple spots and ended up touching glue with my finger, and so the silver leafing actually stuck to it, which is totally fine. It'll come off. And then, oop, there's some more here. There we go. Now, if you don't have a sealer, that's completely fine. The resin will seal it, but here's the issue. Sometimes when you're removing the leafing, there are a lot of extra pieces that are just so small that you don't seem to see but float to the top on resin. So make sure that when you pour the resin on top, you're just carefully looking after it and then picking off anything that's bumpy, just like you normally would, to make sure that nothing is gonna detach. And then what you're gonna do is just gently side to side. Oh, some of it was a little wet. This is what happens if it's a little wet. It's gonna pull that right off. So that's okay, because I can always put a little bit more right on top. You just wanna be super gentle. If you're not patient, like I wasn't, then you're gonna have to probably do a couple layers or a couple fixes. No biggie. A lot of people are actually really afraid of leafing for some reason, but I don't know, I think it's a lot of fun. You don't want to push hard if something gets into the middle, because the leafing can actually stick to things that don't have glue, and so you want to be careful. Just gently blow it off. Otherwise, you might end up getting some leafing in the middle, and you did not intend that. So gentle, side to side. And then you can save all these scraps because they still work just as effective whether they're in a sheet or not. There we go. Now the sealer, if you had a sealer, I'm not 100% sure where mine went, so I'm gonna have to order some more. But this would be the perfect time to seal because you can take it and while things are somewhat sticking up and just run it over and seal everything down. It dries absolutely clear, so you never have issues with that. And I love it. I think it's a fantastic pair. I think they really are essential to go together. But since I don't know where mine is, I'm gonna have to wait for mine and then I'll do the resin, or I might just do resin. But I do prefer having a sealer. It just ends up making it completely better. So here we go. And it is very sticky. Not sticky like tape sticky, but just sort of like just because it's so light. Okay. So yeah, keep working around, get it all the way that you want it to be. Whenever you're blowing all of this off, make sure you're blowing very gently, otherwise you're gonna make a huge mess. And then if you guys want to see the finished product, make sure you follow my Instagram. I'll post some after pictures once I do the resin. So just keep working on it till you get everything off, and then that's it. But I got a surprise announcement. I hope you guys can hear this, because my son can't. That's why I have to whisper. James is coming home today. And he has no idea. So I'm gonna edit this video, of course. You guys are gonna have this today. And then I will record his reaction to when Daddy gets home. Yay, I hope you guys were able to hear that. Okay, I will talk to everyone later. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I can speak normal now. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I hope you have an even better weekend. Again, I will have some after pictures of this puppy once I get all the resin on my Instagram, and that is abstractboss.llc. So hopefully I'll see you guys over there, and I hope you guys have a great weekend. Bye everyone.